Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and we are almost at the midpoint of March and March Mystery Madness, and I may do a mid-month reading wrap-up in a couple of days, but I've been kind of thinking that I wanted to do some other sort of video project related to March Mystery Madness, and I had been toying with the idea of doing some kind of a shelf tour, but it was only a couple of years ago that I did a Cozy Mystery shelf tour, and those videos are still on my channel. I have added quite a few Cozy Mysteries to my shelves, or to my house. There was no more room on my shelves since then, but I am really needing to do some sort of organizational overhaul, and I'm starting to think that I just don't have any shelves large enough to hold my Cozy Mystery collection. So I'm not sure how my organization is going to pan out, but while I'm going through everything and taking stock of what I have, I thought that a fun video project to do would be sort of a shelf spotlight of sorts, because I have several Cozy Mystery series that I have collected that I am either reading, I'm in the middle of reading, or I haven't started. And so I thought I would just kind of do a few videos throughout the rest of the month and show you some of those series and tell you what I know about them, if I've read any of them, and just go from there. So I thought I would start with the A's because I have quite a few books in the Nancy Atherton Aunt Dimity series. In fact, I have almost all of them. And this is the first book, Aunt Dimity's Death. I read this back in, I think, 2016. And sorry, I was like, there's no one in the room with me. It's a cat. He is, you know how cats have to find their spot. Well, it's on a stack of paper. So you heard the rattling. Anyway, I read this back, I think, in 2016. And I first started collecting these books, I think, at a library book sale. I found a few, I don't even know which ones at this point. I found a few, and I thought, oh, these look really cute and fun. And I was just kind of getting into branching out from the very few Cozy Mysteries I had read at the time, which, you know, basically amounted to the Hannah Swenson Baking Mysteries and maybe a couple of Leslie Meyer books. I can't even remember what else I read. Large Child Scrapbooking Mysteries, that kind of thing. And I hadn't even read very many of those other than the Hannah Swenson Baking Mysteries. So anyway, I had started BookTube in 2015, so these just looked fun. And I didn't really have any idea that they were partly supernatural. I didn't know what they were about. They just sounded like fun. So I read this first book, and I soon discovered that there is a supernatural element to the series, but I would really call it paranormal light. It's very light. There's not a ghost in the series that manifests itself in any kind of a ethereal form or anything like that. And it doesn't talk, at least not audibly. So it differs from, you know, a ghost story. It's not scary at all. But it does have that element. So if you're not about that, then you probably wouldn't care for this book. And I would normally say I am not really one to look for books that have a paranormal element. However, I have really enjoyed this book. And I have another Cozy Mystery series that I have completed. It's a much shorter series, but it has a ghost in it. It's the Haunted Yarn Shop Mysteries by Molly McRae, and it's one of my favorite series because the ghost is so temperamental. So anyway, we'll talk about that series another time. And I don't own any of those books, so that series won't be part of this video series. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an overview. I want to show you the books. I do not want to give you any spoilers. If I do, I'll try to wait till right at the end, and I will tell you, okay, here come the spoilers. This is a series I think it is best to read at least maybe the first 3 books in order before you start jumping around. Now, I have talked to a couple of people who have read other books, have read farther into the series, and I'm pretty sure it's okay to jump around in the series. But I would definitely start with the first three, because that really sets the tone. It sets up all the characters and their relationships, and it just gives you a good base for understanding who Aunt Dimity is and how she came to be a part of um, the story, I guess. So, contrary to what you might think, Aunt Dimity is really not the main character of the series. The main character of the series is a woman named Lori, and in this first book called Aunt Dimity's Death, she is maybe 30-ish, or maybe late 20s, and she's divorced. She is described as being down on her luck, and she gets a letter, I guess, from a law firm telling her that uh, a woman named Dimity, I can't even remember Dimity's last name now, has passed away, and Lori, needs to come to England to fulfill the will, the instructions in the will, that she is the heir and she needs to come to England to take care of things. Well, up to this point, she only knew that Aunt Dimity was a character in her mother's bedtime stories. She never realized that Dimity was an actual person. Well, now both Dimity is dead and Lori's mother is dead, so she can't really talk to them or ask them anything. But she does go to England, and the story goes from there. So there is a romance. There is, that relationship gets established pretty early on. So if you've ever picked up one of the later books, you already know that that is a thing that that happens in Lori's life. Her relationships and her family does that it does grow, and I don't know how much to tell you about Aunt Dimity. I will just say that through the story, Aunt Dimity manifests herself in a journal. There is a particular blue journal that Lori discovers that Aunt Dimity communicates to her through this journal. So all she has to do is open the journal, and I think she's to leave the pen laying next to it, and then she starts talking, and Aunt Dimity writes her answers in the journal. So that's the extent of how we hear from Aunt Dimity throughout the whole series, with the exception of book 2. Now, book 2 is really more of a prequel, and Aunt Dimity really isn't a big presence in it either, but she is still alive. I think it takes place maybe 8 years before, and Lori is really not a part of this book. This is Aunt Dimity and the Duke. But in this book, we meet the other side characters that are going to have an important role in Lori's life. And we get to know them, and there is a mystery. And by the way, the mystery in the first book is not a murder. There is an old murder, I believe, that is dealt with. But it's not, this one is not what I would consider a murder mystery. In fact, I want to say that of the several that I've read, not necessarily all of them have a murder. Sometimes there's attempted murders and things like that. So it's a very light series, not gruesome, and very entertaining. So what I can recall about Aunt Dimity and the Duke is that it it really doesn't have much to do with Lori or Aunt Dimity, but it does introduce us to the characters that are going to be intertwined in Lori's life as the series goes on. So those are the first 2 books, and I would definitely read these before you continue on. In fact, I would go ahead and read the 3rd one after that, and then if you really have to skip around after that, then I'll give you permission. But of course, I never recommend that personally. So I can't remember much about Aunt Dimity's good deed, except that Lori's romantic relationship is established here. I guess it's okay at this point to give you a spoiler. she does get married, and so it goes from there. Her family does grow, so sorry if that's a big spoiler, but you know, if you, it's really, you, this is only book 3, so, and I think you know from book 1 that she's gonna, you know, you're pretty sure she's gonna get married. She may even get married at the end of book 1. So anyway, I said I wasn't gonna give spoilers. That's all I'll do. That's the only spoilers I give you. So let me just go ahead and show you the rest of these. Oh, now most of these all take place in England. I think that there are a couple that bounce around. I'm still in the first 10. So based on some of the titles, there may be times when Lori and Bill, her husband, who is from the law firm Willis and Willis, um, they may do some traveling. So let me just show you these. I have the first 10 in paperback, and then the next 10 in hardcover, and then I have one more after that. It's right now it's a 25 book series. Well, it's 24 books, and 25 comes out this year in 2022. But let me just go through and show you the rest of them. Aunt Dimity Digs In. As I recall, this one had to do with some kind of archaeological dig, so hence the name. Aunt Dimity's Christmas. So this one, of course, is going to take place at Christmas. You do not have to wait for Christmas to read this one, though. As I recall, I don't think I read it at Christmas. Aunt Dimity Beats the Devil. And as I recall, this does not have to do with the supernatural devil. It is talking about the patriarch of a family who was referred to as the old devil. And then Aunt Dimity Detective. I can't remember much about this one at all, and it wasn't even that long ago that I read that one. And then I just read one in January for the Killing Time with Cozy's ABC Challenge. This was my A book, Aunt Dimity Takes a Holiday, and this one is not a Christmas holiday. Lori and her husband Bill take a sort of a working vacation to what is it? Like a manor home. Bill is working. He has been hired to work on the estate planning for this particular family, and I guess they invited Bill to bring his wife along, so Lori comes along with him, and of course there's a mystery that happens, and so it's a vacation holiday, not a Christmas holiday. And then I am about to read, hopefully this month or the next one, Aunt Dimity Snowbound. And that's book 9. And then book 10, this is where the, I don't know if they had a publishing change. I did read something about why the cover art started changing, and I think there are 2 different editions of this one, and this is the one I have. I don't love the new cover art style. Aunt Dimity and the Next of Kin is book 10, but I know it didn't completely change over yet, because here I have book 11, which is still the old style. This is Aunt Dimity and the Deep Blue Sea. But then after that, I think it went completely over to the new art style, which, like I said, I'm not a fan of. This would be 13, Aunt Dimity Goes West. Or no, I'm sorry, 12. Yeah, that's 12. Book 13 is Aunt Dimity Vampire Hunter, I believe, yes. And I haven't read these. Book 14, Aunt Dimity Slays the Dragon. Book 15, Aunt Dimity Down Under. So this would lead me to believe that they take a trip to Australia. Aunt Dimity and the Family Tree. Aunt Dimity and the Village Witch. Aunt Dimity and the Lost Prince. I've lost track of the numbers. I think this is 19. Aunt Dimity and the Wishing Well. And then this would be 20. Aunt Dimity and the Summer King. And then I don't have book 21 or 22, but I'll put a picture here. Book 21 is Aunt Dimity and the Buried Treasure. And book 22 is Aunt Dimity and the Widow's Curse. I do have a copy of book 23. It is Aunt Dimity and the King's Ransom. And then I'll show you a picture of book 24, Aunt Dimity and the Heart of Gold. And then book 25, which is due out on May the 3rd, 2022, is Aunt Dimity and the Enchanted Cottage. So that is about all I want to tell you about the Aunt Dimity series. Even though it is supernatural, like I said before, it is very supernatural light, and I personally enjoy it very much. Lori has one kind of personality quirk, which you could let it bother you if you let it bother you, it will. But she she has kind of a wandering eye, and okay, spoiler alert. And while I have my hands up, if you want to turn off the sound for a minute, and then I'll put my hands down. She has a wandering eye, and in a lot of the books, she will sort of meet and latch on to a side character that is a male, and they will become really good friends, and they usually end up working together to solve whatever the mystery is. But I think it's a situation where she will never ever cheat on her husband. Even though sometimes she's worried that her husband will cheat on her, I think it's a situation where he will not ever cheat on her, but they just have a really solid relationship. But she definitely gets attracted to other men, and she feels guilty about it, but she still continues to be friends with them. So, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm not saying one way or the other. That's just her personality in the books, and that's just something that you're going to encounter as you go along. So that's all I'll say about that. All right, so also I wanted to let you know that I do have an extra copy of 3 different books that I picked up at the big book sale. I just did a book haul not very long ago, just a few weeks ago, and I was just grabbing all of the cozy mysteries, whether I owned them or not, and I figured anything extra that I have duplicate, if I'm picking up duplicates of something, I can list those in our eBay store. So I just got these listed today, and if you are interested in any of these, you can follow the link to our eBay store on it'll be at the description. It's the very bottom of the description of all my more recent videos, and just send me a message. You can make me an offer. On all of the items in our eBay store are set where you can make an offer, and just put in there that you saw this video and you want to make me an offer, and I will probably take whatever you want to offer me. Especially like, let's say even like 30% off or more, whatever you want to offer me. If you let me know that you are a watcher or viewer, then I will more than likely accept any offer, within reason. I got to at least cover the shipping, but I will be more than happy to do that. So here's what I have. I have an extra copy of book 1, Aunt Dimity's Death, book 3, Aunt Dimity's Good Deed, and book 10. Did I hold up the right book? Aunt Dimity and the Next of Kin. So I'll be happy to make you a good deal on these books. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will come back. I plan to showcase several other series that I have on my shelves throughout the rest of the month, and I hope you will join me. So for now, that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.